Recording time. It's here. We're Jeez. Hello. It's. Oh my goodness. It's Project. I'm just done. Hey, Project's here joining me to talk
Cackling
about
away in the
fantasy.
background.
Yeah, because I can't speak computer sentences, and he can vouch for me. We've been talking for like 10, 15 minutes, and I didn't mess up once, and all of a sudden I got the lights came on. I got nervous.
It's the stress. The
Yeah,
stress.
the stress of the talk. So I messaged you, top secret interview. Just wanted to kind of get with you and introduce you a bit to the league and kind of chat a little bit. We'll talk about the league specifically, but also kind of talk about your history in fantasy football and the short story long and some fun facts about yourself, which I didn't tell you we were going to talk about. So let's
Putting me
talk.
on the spot.
Yeah, I know, right? We'll start with a softball fantasy football journey. How long you've been playing, how many leagues you in, are they all dynasty, any unique formats, is this the only unique format, or yeah, like all the things. Hit us with the dynasty or the
Probably like
fantasy
a
football life
decade
story.
of like redraft. I've been doing Dynasty for like 4 years or so.
Yeah.
I'm up to 8 Dynasty teams at this point. I had a couple that fell off, but trying to add another couple of like Dynasty best ball ones on is the only thing else that I would do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got like 8 Dynasty teams going on. A couple of them are rebuilds, a couple of them are contenders, which is always nice to have that like
Yeah,
um,
good mix there, right?
options. Yeah, like a good mix of it. The one that Kmigs knows me from, Dynasty Degenerates, is like
Yep.
one of my rebuilds that's coming out of it. Um, and then I did like an auction redraft, which is why I was so excited about this contract league. Is my main league for the longest time was a friend group one where it was an auction redraft keeper league where you would keep your players plus 10% plus 20% on how much you bid on them the previous year.
Right.
So it was a nice mixture. But just like keeper league where you're only keeping 3 or 4 is just not quite enough.
Yeah.
So
Very
yeah,
different than that dynasty feel. I feel like now that I've
yeah.
gone all the way into dynasty, I really wouldn't enjoy keeper leagues. Like when I talk to
Keeper
people.
leagues are just a tease. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I talk to people about it, and they're like, "Oh, well, if I keep this guy, then I forfeit my second round this year. Then I keep that guy. I don't. He's good. I got him in the eighth." I'm like, dude, I just have all my guys for as long as I want, other than the contract league. But even there, you can kind of do it. I've got you're coming out of the rebuild on the screen here. It is pretty good. It's some couple good options there. I mean, Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be there much longer, but wide receiver core looks great. Some young picks, too, so
Yeah.
even more wide receivers. Price, we'll see. Love that biggest bust of frame of all time. That's hysterical. Bo Nix there, too. Yeah, it is. Dynasty Degenerates is an interesting league. It's the only orphan I've ever
It is.
taken over.
It's a sharp league,
Shout
honestly.
out Jay
It's
Mills.
it's 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 a hard league to make progress
Yeah.
in terms of trading. It was also actually one of my first dynasty leagues, so I kind of messed it up at the start
Yeah.
badly. I think I drafted Matthew Stafford and like
Oh,
Tom
no.
Brady as my like cube as my quarterbacks, and thought that I could do like a win now league, and
Yeah.
then it all fell apart, and I made some awful trades. I've just been digging myself out of that hole for like 3 years.
Yeah, and that's the real one where you really have to dig, and there's good players in there. Did you? I don't want it to be that guy. I mean, I know we're going to talk about the other league. I swear. Did you see everybody dogging on me for that trade I made? I was really happy with that to the point that I continue to seek external validation.
Which trade?
Let me scroll back and find it. This one, basically, Nico Collins, Johnny Wilson, a fourth and a third, for Luke Musgrave, a first and a second, and 26.
I think it's roughly even.
I do
I
too.
like. I
I
think
love
Nico is
Nico.
worth at least a first. The
Yes.
rest of it is kind of trash. Like Trey Lance to me is junk. Johnny Wilson is junk. A
How dare
fourth
you?
and a third are junk. So it's all kind of junk. The only real thing there is Nico. But
Yeah.
then on the other hand, like a first, a second, and like I think that Luke Musgrave is nothing.
Yeah,
Also,
I think this is the last time that he has any value, and I have Sam Laporta now. So if anything,
so
I would trade a first and a second for Nico in a heartbeat, and they're 26.
basically that's what it is: a first and a second, and then you're getting a third and a fourth back. I mean,
Yep.
I don't see that Johnny Wilson or Trey Lance ever becoming anything at this point.
Yeah, the only reason I took Trey Lance is because I don't think the Cowboys are going to sign Dak because they're idiots, and so maybe Lance does something. He probably doesn't, but I was like, throw Lance in, we'll call it even, and that's how he got
He's
there. So
a decent throw in. He's like a third.
yeah,
Like a third, I want to say.
Yeah, and maybe
So,
he's nothing, but I would, you know, I'm getting Nico Collins, which is all I care about. So
I
whatever.
think Nico is worth a first and a second, especially
Yeah.
further out ones. However, your team essentially, we'll see how your team looks like in 2026.
Yeah, my team's dog shit, but I'm getting there one baby step at a time. So let's talk. Let's rewind all the way back to the contract league, then the one we're here for, obviously. You heard about it through. I think what did I post in Degenerates or I
Yeah, I think
forget
it was
how it
in
went.
Dynasty Degenerates.
Yeah, you know, I wonder if I can scroll back to our message just for funsies. I probably shouldn't leak these on stream, but let me see if I remember. I messaged you. I was like, I got a couple questions that I'd love to hear, your thoughts on these questions and your answer. I don't think I showed anybody else or told anybody else, but you just went off on your answer and you were like, I need a minute for this, and I was like, okay, sounds good. And then it just was a fucking book, and I loved it because you're like, I was like, okay, he's really putting thought into this. Which is
Yeah,
this
there
is
it
it.
is. There it is.
Yeah, there's his answer. I asked, what are your initial impressions? What do you love and hate? What do you think your strategy would be, and why do you want to join? And you were like, yeah, take 20 minutes to read this. But it was really well thought out. How has everything been so far since you've joined? Because it's a lot. It's confusing. Have
It's
you
been
kind
a
of gotten
lot.
acclimated to everything? I mean,
I
we've been
think
talking a lot
so.
in DMs about it, and I feel like you've picked it up pretty well for not knowing what the fuck is going on half the time.
I think so. Some of the stuff like the contract extensions is still learning on it, and also the value of cap space and how that works and rollover and the roster moves. I made a few mistakes. I shouldn't have re-signed Deontay Johnson this offseason. I should have saved that one because I've got if you go to Deontay Johnson, I've got a lot of potential dead money on that if he doesn't pan out.
Right.
I should have waited to see how that worked. But I just wanted to make some moves. Yeah,
Yeah.
look at that. That is
I
that
love
is
that.
that's a
I
bold bet. I think it's going to pay off. But there's some things there that I kind of waited on.
right. I love
And
the
then
Ingram deal. I thought the Ingram deal was great.
no one wants Ingram. I keep
I
trying to
I
I
have
keep
so
trying
many
to
shares of
trade
Ingram.
him.
I
No
mean,
one wants him. It's
I don't
I'm not
understand the disrespect
competing.
against him. Yeah.
Right? For $44, he's a great deal. For $44 for a contender,
Yeah.
give me a second. Give me a second and a third, and he's yours, and I've got no bite.
Yeah, plug it all fucking day right here. I mean, that's the other thing that's fun about these shows is you can kind of subtly plug what you want to do and what you don't want to do and all that type of stuff. And I've asked questions before, and people are like, I'm not answering that. So
I mean, what I'm trying to do here is just accumulate assets. I
yeah,
love Rome. I probably gave up too much to get Rome. I think I had to give up Baker Mayfield and a first to move up. So I think
right.
that was an overpay. I was hoping that Drake May was gonna fall, but this is my only share of Rome. So I'm stoked to have that.
I'm trying to pull up what the trade was now as you keep talking. So sorry if it looks like I'm ignoring you, but keep going.
I like Polk too. I've got a lot of shares of him. I'm just trying to build some kind of wide receiver core. And maybe you basically gave me Tua. So thank you for that, by the way. Tua for Russell Wilson in a second, I think.
Yeah, it's just me I needed to be in cap compliance and I wasn't.
So I think I've got some
Yeah,
pieces
Baker.
here.
It was Baker and 111 for 105.
Yeah, it was 105.
But you look like a genius if that hits, though, right? That's the fun part about making a trade like that is if that works, you're incredible. If that doesn't work, man, that's gonna suck. You know what I mean?
Basically, that's Bo Nix and Baker Mayfield for Rome, which, as someone with no quarterbacks except for Tua,
when you say it that way.
I badly need some more quarterbacks, but we'll see. We'll see how it all pans out. I was really hoping that Drake May was going to be there, was my plan, but that did not happen.
Yeah, no, he got. I forget where he went. What did he go? 3
I think he went 4. I think it went. He went 4. And then I think Jaden Daniels was there also at 5, but I have doubts about him long term.
I thought it went. I'm going to pull it up here.
draft
not
results.
actually a big. Yeah, no. If I do it, it's gonna be the shitty one that we were doing for the veteran draft. It's not gonna be the right one. So let me pull it up on the phone because Sleeper hates their website.
Dude, Sleeper is awful on their website. They just force you to their app.
Yeah, I mean, I love the app, but it's
The app is
rough
great.
when we're doing stuff like this and we want to look at it, you know. I thought Jaden Daniels went 3. No, Malik Neighbors went 3. So you're right. So it was Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors. Chase took May. Morgan took Daniels. You grabbed Odunze at 6.
Yeah, it was at 6. Yeah, because I was hoping that Jaden Daniels or May were gonna fall to me, but I'm still happy with the room. Bit of an overpay, but
it's one of those things you got to get your guy, and you know you're kind of in this window of rebuilding, right? And so Baker, there's a chance that Baker's nothing in 2 years, and you do what you got to do. So
plus, draft season hype.
Yeah. It always
draft. Go back to it. The other thing that I really need. No, can you go back to the spreadsheet?
Oh, spreadsheet.
The other thing that I really need is that Trey Lance dead cap is finally coming off. It's been brutal.
Yeah, I don't think you were the one that cut him, right? It was the other guy.
No, that was the other guy. That's been a brutal. I've got some dead cap from like a Derek Carr because I had to take Carr on to get my first back.
Yeah, the DeAndre Swift cut too. Sheesh.
Yeah, I've got a lot of dead cap. A lot of dead cap.
That's rough. I'm gonna pull it up on the other screen over here as we're talking, just to see the. I could do some math here, but why would I do that when I have the power of the internet and you check it for me? Yeah, I mean, a lot of that dead cap stuff is going to drop off after this year. You had some good rollover, which is nice. Total of $300 in dead cap, $298. It's $92 next year. Then you're in the clear for 2026 and 2027, which is it's nice. You've got that. You've got a lot of space though, kind of coming up in these future years, which is convenient for you. You see some people like I think if we look at Cam's roster or Kmigs roster. There's not a lot of wiggle room in the future, right? Like Cam's negative 300 next year, then 48 and 26. Or you look at another roster like I know Ticket to Ride. They restructured Josh Allen, which was great, but to basically get him on their team, but $320 in dead cap in 2028, 214 in 2027. It's like. There's nobody on the roster, and you're already $300 less than everybody else in 2028. It's potentially really scary, and Stephon Diggs for that matter. So $350 already in 28, and that's a problem for 2028, right? Like that doesn't matter right now, but man, that sucks to kind of to have on your radar for one day, whereas it's not like that for you. You kind of have some pieces here, and it's a nice build. You've got people you want in later years, and that cap flexibility as well.
Yeah, it's not as much cap in 2025, unfortunately, but I've already it's only 249, but I've got plenty of room to kick the can down the road.
Yeah, and then let's just see where that ranks roughly. 249, right in the middle. I mean, you're right in the middle. It seems like people have a lot of money or no money next year. So 249 probably puts you like 4th most, 5th most. So it might not feel like it's a whole bunch, but it's not as bad as you might think. So
yeah.
So looking around the league, I mean, obviously you're brand new. What are your objectives this season? Do you really think it's a toilet bowl kind of season for you?
It's a toilet bowl season. I am competing for pick 4, and it's gonna be a bit of a balancing act of trying to sell some of my win now pieces, like James Conner, for instance, who is up for sale if anybody wants to give me a second. Hopefully a high second, if anyone is listening. Going to make some of those moves, but potentially I do need to also, actually compete this year. I'm happy that I got my first back. I had to pay a lot for him.
Yeah.
I had to take on that Derek Carr contract and give away Tank Dell also.
Yeah.
So that was a tough pill to swallow, but happy to have gotten my first back because it's gonna be high next year.
Yeah, and that's kind of like if you didn't get that back, I mean, it was a high price to pay, but it's also better than not having your pick when you know you're on that trajectory. It was a 25 first. What am I looking at? Yeah. So you sent Dell to get your first back, a second back end Derek Carr, which was again just eating that deal. And keep in mind, just as a reminder potentially for you, is the reason that Connor, in my opinion, is still on your roster. That's the wrong thing. The reason that Connor is still on your roster is this right here. Where are we at?
Yeah.
77 and 113.
Yeah,
So don't forget,
113.
you can offer to pay for some of that. This way, it makes it more appealing for someone. So if someone's like, I'll give you a second, and you're like, I want a third, and they say no, be like, okay, well, I'll pay for half of it this year or whatever next year. And on the rosters page, if you scroll to the very bottom, there's a cut cost calculator. You can click this. It'll pull up a calculator for you on what their contract looks like, and if you cut them, what it all comes out to be. It looks like shit on the stream. But that's nice. This way you can kind of envision, well, you know, if I'm going to have to cut this guy, so I might as well pay for some of it to try to get them back. So just the optionality that you have is going to be really interesting because your team is on an interesting trajectory. The good news is it's a very clear one. The bad news is it's not clear how to get there at the same time, you know.
Because I don't have a lot of extra assets. You know, I've only got the
just
one
that first
next year.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't have any other extra seconds. I don't have any other extra picks.
Yeah.
So if a guy like Rome busts, I am up shit creek.
Yeah. The good news is that you've got plenty of the picks in 26 and some money and some big room to do some stuff with. I think it's like one of those things, doing things now. Everybody's just really set with their roster. Sitting here 2 weeks before the season begins, it might be tough to.
No one makes trades now. This is not the time to
Yeah.
like, make trades really.
Yeah, unless like there's an injury or something crazy, everything's nice and quiet at this point, I think.
Or unless someone gives you, like I sold Connor in one league for a second and Kendrick Miller, and I was like, all right, I have
The
to
contender
like, take
versus
that
rebuilder trade.
that deal.
Yeah.
Well, it's a 10-man league, and 10-man leagues are weird because you know you could have just stacked rosters. So he was my like RB4 basically.
Yeah. At that point, take it.
Yeah. So I don't really have a lot of youth on this team that's cheap, but we're gonna see.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna take me 3 years. 3 years to have a contender, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
You say it's easier with the turnover, but like this year in the veteran auction, you know, like I got Javonte Williams and Cortland Sutton. I paid a little bit more for them than I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Not a really great offense to be investing in, but
out of all the offenses you could have picked.
But there's nothing else on the menu.
Yeah, no,
so
there's not.
I guess I'm eating here. I guess I'm eating this. It's like a small town in the south.
Yeah.
Like I guess I'm eating at Applebee's. Not exactly appetizing. But
Yeah.
This is what I've got.
Yeah, just got to make do with what I can.
So it'll be interesting next year to see what happens with the veteran auction, because this year wasn't too tasty. But I'm hoping that maybe next year or the year after that might actually change.
Well, keep in mind, another shameless plug by this website that sucks that somebody built is you can click view all contracts. It'll do everything for you, and you can look at everything. A better way, I think, to look at this tab is to prefer the old way. Click the link, and then it'll pull up this, and you can go to this little contracts tab here and filter this bad boy to everything, and then you can see years remaining on contract, and then probably best to like clear all and then just do or maybe select all and then do everybody over like $10 or $5, just because generally it's not the best players there. But then you can see all these players who are on a 1-year deal expiring, like Keenan Allen. Why are JJ back off the 5? Keenan Allen or Christian Watson and Devontae Adams and J.K. Dobbins, his real person.
DJ Moore. There's some interesting pieces. I mean, some of these are going to get reassigned, which makes it a little bit tricky.
Yeah. But some might not. Like re-signing CeeDee Lamb right now. So, holy plugs. Look at.
You scroll down. Lamar Jackson's probably going to hit free agency too.
Yeah. 168 is tough. And then if you go pull up, so we'll use Lamar Jackson here. If you go look at him on Sleeper, his contract note will say Y10R. And if you go back to the website, there's a calculator for that too. You can type in that 160 or that 202, and it tells you what it would cost to sign them for those different years and all that. This way you can
Good
kind of
God.
see. Yeah, this way you can kind of see, like, hey, if he gets signed, it's maybe a year, probably not 2, you know, and all that good stuff. So plenty of
You could maybe do it for a year, but I feel like going above 200 for a player is tough.
yeah, it's got to be. I mean, that's where it gets fun, right? Is like, well, if you're gonna do it for anybody, Lamar Jackson's not really a bad candidate, but do you really want to go ahead and pay 20% of your cap room? It's almost like, you know, the real NFL, where you pay a quarterback, the assets around him got to depreciate too, to make you get there. So
Yeah.
you got to find value in your $2, $3 guys versus being able to pay, you know, a Mike Evans some money or an Anthony Richardson some money. So yeah. That'll do it for us, though. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to talk about before we wrap this guy up?
No, I'm excited to be able to turn this thing around in a couple of years.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, I've been looking for like a salary cap league, so I'm excited to have joined one. And thanks for doing all the work to get it all set up. Pretty manual process still, but
Yeah, getting there. Codes has been a big help this last year for sure as well. So shout out to him for the help. But I think I've said before. You might have heard me say it, might not have heard me say it. That's okay. It makes it really easy to do this when you guys are just as nuts about this as I am. Because if you guys didn't give a shit, then it wouldn't be as enjoyable. But since you guys are all diehard nerds with this type of stuff too, it makes it really easy to want to continue doing, if that makes sense.
It's a proper degenerate league, and
indeed,
it's something that, like, honestly, in a weird way, the like strangers off of Reddit were the only like weirdos that would be down enough for this, compared to like trying to get like a real life group of friends who don't care about this enough. It doesn't really happen.
No, it's we are a very special group of people. I think.
Special is a good word for it. I'd be curious how many of us are diagnosed with autism or ADHD or all kinds of other stuff. You know.
My wife believes I'm autistic. I
am. I got
officially
diagnosed this spring, which was funny.
Oh,
after like living my like whole life not like knowing. But I mean, I'm like high functioning. I'm a sales rep. I can look people in
all the things.
in the eyes and stuff. But yeah, apparently I have a clear-cut case of autism. So
yeah, I have fixations. Like when I get too excited about something, I go fucking all overboard. Which this, you know, like that makes it very clear.
That would be a fun poll to see how many of us are neurodivergent. I feel like it would probably be close to 100%.
Yeah, easily over 50-60% of us. I would guess at least 7, if not more of us, probably.
Yeah.
We're all special together. So.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to wrap this up. It was good talking to you. We will see you soon. Thanks for joining the league, and happy birthday.
Thanks,
I won't miss it next year. That was a whoopsies, and thank you, Rick, for calling me out in the chat about it. I didn't forget. So
sweet.
That'll do it.
Cool, man.
Good talking to you, and we'll see you soon.
Sounds good, man.